Continuing our discussion on fuzzing, we said that we want to make this a little bit easier by using some automation. So we saw that we could do things like typing echo help into our server using netcat, and that does as we expect. We said, wouldn't it be nice if we could make this a little simpler? Here's what we can do. If I want to add something to the end of this help command, I can give it a command to execute, and the results of that command will be put into my echo. And the way that I do that is I include the command that I want to run in backticks. That is the button that is above the tab on a standard US keyboard. So if I say run Python, and I will pass it a command string, please print the letter A 5 times, and then I end that command with a quote, and then I end my Python command with a backtick. Now it will correctly print out 5 A's after that command. Now it might be a little bit hard to see this at first, so it's probably a little bit easier if instead of piping this to netcat, we might just want to echo it to the screen, and we see what it does here. Of course, I can up this number to something like 5,000, and I could try to use that in order to crash my server. So let's go ahead and try to do that really quickly. Pipe this to netcat, and it says unknown command, which is a little bit strange. We saw two things. It said command specific help has not been implemented, and then it said unknown command. What's happening here, because of some limitations for the length of a command on the command line and the echo command, this is getting split into more than one line. So what I can do, instead of sending that to netcat, I'm going to go ahead and capture it in a file. My command greater than, we'll say test.txt. And now let's have a look at our file. So I say nano test.txt. Nano is a nice simple editor that's probably installed by default in most Linux systems. And here you have it. It has this command that's being sent. I'll go ahead and exit. It turns out that that alone is not enough to crash this system. What if I sent a gmon command? So I'm going to change this slightly, and I'm going to say, please do this command. Now, by the way, there are several flaws in this program. If you want to, you can even cheat and you can look at the source code. But that's kind of missing the point of this whole exercise. The point of this exercise is, can you find these vulnerabilities? And if you do enough trying of different things, what you might find is eventually, if you execute a gmon command that starts with a parameter dot slash and then a colon, which is used to separate different paths, and then another slash, it just might crash. So here I'm going to save the results to test2.txt. Once again, I will open this up with nano. So here is my command. Now, in some cases, it's not sufficient just to send a bunch of stuff. It might also have to be junk. It might have to be randomized somehow. And that is where zzuf comes in. Let's start here. We're going to cat test2 out to the screen, and you see it ends with a bunch of A's. And by the way, if I need to know how to run this tool, type zzuf --help. Like most Linux tools, it will give me a help screen. And if I scroll, I will see that the basic syntax is a program and then some arguments. So in my case, the program I want to run is cat. So if I say zzuf cat test2.txt, you'll notice that the output has been changed a little bit. Some of the characters are no longer A's. zzuf will take a percentage of the inputs and randomly change them. Now, I can change the ratio of what is altered and what is not using the -r option. So for example, if I say -R0, don't change anything, and I rerun this command, I get back to all A's. I could say, please change 38%, and you'll notice it's quite different now. I could select 5%. So I have a lot of different options. For now, let's just go with the standard percentage, and it puts out this string. There is an issue here. The issue is that I don't want to change the very start of my string. So if I take this and I put it out to a file, we'll call it fuzz.txt. And if I bring up that file in Nano, you'll notice there's a problem. It modified the start of my file. How do I fix that? Well, there's another flag that we can give to ZStuff that says, here's the bytes you can modify. By default, it can modify all of them. So I want to start at byte 12 and onward. Anything after that, I'm fine with. Rerun that command. Once again, bring it up in my editor. And now I see it has not modified the first bits. So let's see if we can crash our server. So I'm going to cat fuzz txt. I'm going to pipe that to netcat, my address. It says, welcome to vulnerable server, but it never returns, does it? So if I pop over to my VirtualBox, I see that sure enough, it says, hey, this thing stopped working. Well, that's all for this video. When we come back, we're going to continue our discussions on fuzzing.